I'm not looking, but yeah.
I called Doc. He's too busy. He's really working.
It's okay.
I'll be quiet.
Oh, that's okay. I was like, who's talking? There we go. And all the comics, I will give you a 2-minute warning via chat. So you have 2 minutes to wrap it up through chat, okay?
Okay.
Sounds good. All right, let's see if this is actually working.
Hi, everyone.
All right, so it looks as though we have, hi, Alana.
Hi.
So we're gonna go live. It looks like it's live right now. I'm gonna spotlight myself because I'm so pretty. Hold on. There we go.
I can see.
All right. So
We're live.
all right. So any of the comics or anyone who's on Zoom, if you have access to Facebook right now, you can actually go to Facebook, go to my page. I think everybody who's on the show is a friend of mine. So you can go ahead and it looks like Katsy's showing it off. So you can do it as a watch party if you want and share that Facebook Live. It looks like we've already got 7 people watching right now. So let's see. Let me make sure everybody's in and working.
Hey, Charlene.
Yes.
That just makes me look hot.
Who's speaking?
Ellen.
Oh, Ellen. Okay. Okay. There you go. All right. Perfect. All right. And welcome to the show. Welcome to another chicken. I am not as technically savvy to add music, so you're just going to have to just deal with me. We have a great show for you tonight. I'm going to, people who are watching on Facebook Live, I'm going to be typing in a little bit of information about our comics as well during the show. And let's get this party started. I'm going to start, and I get to do this while I'm letting people in. Kezia knows exactly what I'm doing. Everybody's in the quarantine right now. I am living with my boyfriend during quarantine. We have been together since 2003. And before you think that that is an accomplishment, I need to tell you, no, there are no rings on this finger or any of these fingers, no rings, no. So it's only just that. And it took us a long while to move in together because we're obese, we're slow moving people. And when we moved in together, right? It's like you have to get used to each other's little idiosyncrasies, like the bullshit. Like, like using the last of the toilet paper and leaving the empty roll on the holder. And then taking your clothes off and leaving them everywhere, including the kitchen. And really, who forgets to flush? Right? I don't know how he lives with me.
Yeah.
The fun thing about all of this really is being in quarantine is some of the things that have come and gone. Like murder hornets. Where the hell are the murder hornets now? Right? And who named murder hornets? Right? So it sounds like a redneck high school football team. It's like if they decided to do a remake of West Side Story, it wouldn't be like the Jets and the Sharks. It'd be the Murder Hornets and the Kardashians. And now we do have some comics who are from the East Coast. A good portion of the comics today are in Los Angeles area. And we all know that, listen, East Coast people, you're going to die. So at the beginning of all this, they were complaining that the beaches were closed. It didn't bother you guys because it was March. But people were very angry in Los Angeles about the beaches being closed because they were closed, they were open, they were closed. And then people were actually going to see the bioluminescent waves because they're so pretty. So at night they said, oh, you saw these pictures. I'm going to see the bioluminescent waves. So I'm living in Los Angeles where people will not eat gluten, but will swim with red tide because it's pretty and blue.
Right.
Also, there's a fascinating thing that's been going on Facebook, especially during the quarantine, is that people are asking their friends to borrow stuff. Right? It'll be like, hey, Facebook peeps, can I borrow a slow cooker? It's like, I actually saw one. Hey, anyone have a wood chipper? Like, what kind of shady stuff is happening that there is a wood chipper that is necessary in your life? So, and I'm an untrusting person because, you know, I once lent out a clock radio to a friend and it came back melted from their freebasing spoon.
Oh.
The 80s were amazing. People are also giving you some advice on Facebook on how to get through everything. Like, oh my gosh, if you're getting angry, you should exercise. And I'm like, okay, that sounds great. So next time I go to Chili's and I pick up my to-go order, I'm going to drop and give them 20. I'm sure you all saw on Facebook the hey, everybody, let's do this quiz where we mark down all the food that people love, but I hate, or that people hate, and I just secretly love. So with the food that everybody loves and I hate, you expect to see something like pizza, because that's, everybody likes pizza except for like a handful of, crazy ass people. So then you see these people that are putting down, everybody seems to like kale. And I'm like, no, nobody likes kale. It's not much. Nobody likes kale. Something that COVID has gotten rid of in Los Angeles is reusable bags. They demanded that we had to bring our own bags, and then all of a sudden COVID hit and we weren't allowed to bring them anymore. So it was like, the sea turtles. Leave those at home. Also, there are two different types of essential workers I have noticed in this crisis. The essential workers like the doctors and the nurses and the people that are going out there on the front lines. Let's hear it for them. They're amazing. Woo! Right? So those are the two types. We have doctors and nurses, and then we have people who work at Ralph's or a grocery store. So, oh, what about me? I bag your groceries. And it's like, I do understand. I understand if you are forced to go to work at a grocery store, yes, you should get hazard pay. If I'm supposed to go to work as a server, I should get hazard pay. But listen, when you have a sister who's a nurse, you always lose. The majority of your bad day is always going to be less than theirs. Because let me tell you, I once told my sister, oh my gosh, I spilled marinara sauce all over the front of my red shirt. And she said, oh yeah, well, I had someone come in with a head wound today and I had to buy new sneakers. So she wins. Doctors and nurses and paramedics and firefighters, they're always going to beat you. Another thing that COVID has taken away from us, apparently, is Chuck E. Cheese. So, they're filing bankruptcy. Oh. And yeah, and it's like, wow, who wanted to go in there and feel clean before all this anyway? It's like Chuck E. Cheese. They had a motto, Chuck E. Cheese, where a kid can be a kid. And I have a couple of more mottos for Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese. What's that smell? Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese. If you played in the ball pit, you're immune from coronavirus. And Chuck E. Cheese, cheaper than a box of condoms. I will tell you, I'm gonna end with this before I bring on our first official comic. I miss working. I really do. I'm a server at a restaurant, and I have not worked in 4 months. I have not worked with people in 4 months. I never thought I'd miss it. I really never thought I would miss being called by a name that is not my own. Like people would call me Bread. People would say, hey lady, or call me Coffee. And so now I miss it so much that when I have sex with my boyfriend, I make him call me Check Please. Thank you so much. All right, I am going to bring on our first comic. Lovely. I'm going to tell you that she performs all over Zoom, and she is all over Zoom. She gets around, let me tell you. So she performs all over Zoom, and she is the founder and producer of Friday Night Funnies, and that's a Zoom comedy show that you can find just by following her. It takes place every Friday night at 7:30 p.m. So please give a nice warm welcome for Kezia Norton.
Woo! Hey, everyone. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Charlene. Thanks for putting this together and being like the tech wizard and getting us on Facebook Live. And I'm so excited. This is really fun. And I love Zoom because Zoom is a place where jazz hands are cool. And I like doing Zoom comedy shows because I can go from my chair to my bed and I don't have to carry mace. I'm kind of mad though right now. I had a stupid accident and I broke my wrist.
Oh,
My right hand. So before I was having COVID hair and now I have southpaw hair. And I don't know if you can see it, but I burned myself with the curling iron.
oh no.
And I'm like, I made a, you know, I had some meltdowns about this whole thing, right? Because I'm right-handed. But then I decided I'm going to do everything with my left hand that I do with my right hand. But I'm so tired of spilling shit on me. Excuse me. I'm constantly spilling, dropping things. I've lost weight because it's such a difficult task to feed myself now. Like, I don't cook anymore. I just buy the Trader Joe's pre-packaged meals. And it makes me feel guilty because then I add more plastic to the whole plastic issue. Anyway, what was really fun about when I broke my wrist, I was in the hospital getting my bones repositioned. And the doctor put my hand into this medieval looking contraption. And I said, oh my God, that looks like it's from the show Outlander. And he goes, oh my God, I love that show. And he goes, I'll be your Claire.
Oh. Oh.
And I was like, oh, you can be my Claire. But I'm excited because I got a new cast. This is 2 days old. And it's green for financial abundance. And it doesn't smell. If you ever broke something, you know what I'm talking about. So 4 months ago, I was praying to God, God, get me out of catering and help me work from home. Well, we all know he delivered. I feel so guilty because I caused the pandemic. Yeah, I'm a middle child. It's always my fault. And then on Father's Day, I prayed if we opened up to not let me go back to catering. And then this happened. So I'm not going to pray anymore about catering ever again. I'm afraid if I do, I'll end up in a casket. It's just so awkward serving appetizers at a funeral. Hi, would you like an appetizer? I'm sorry for your loss, but here's a pig in a blanket.
Oh,
So since I broke my arm, I allowed myself to eat some comfort food. And I realized that my favorite food groups are protein, veggies, and condiments. My condiment or my comfort food is an excuse to put mayo and ketchup on. Some women are size queens. I'm a condiment queen.
Yeah.
They say alcohol isn't good for us, but I know one thing that it was good for me for, my courage, my confidence. Wait. Courage and confidence. Okay, it's kind of the same thing. Well, anyway, if it wasn't for alcohol, I'd still be a virgin. I'd have my PhD, and I'd be a licensed driver. So who knew we were going to be in 1918, 1929, and 1775, all in 3 months? All I can say is, thank God I have 2 therapists. I have a man shrink and a woman shrink. I like to pretend they're my parents who tell me I'm smart, I'm good enough. It's totally worth the $100. But actually, my man shrink died. He was a workaholic. He died at his desk after my issues gave him that coronary. It's always my fault. But I still talk to him because he's less expensive now. He's always available. So right now I get paid more not to work. Thank you, stimulus. The quarantine is like being saved by an invisible husband. It's the perfect relationship. I now get paid to work from home, and I don't have to cook dinner for anybody. I was married for 10 years. Happy for 1. My husband was hot. I'm not kidding. He was like Italian eye candy. And he served the best cannoli. But after 1 year of marriage, he took his cannoli off the menu. But it was probably my fault. But my dad paid so much money for my Cinderella wedding, I couldn't get divorced for at least 10 years.
Right.
Because he served filet mignon. And I have the guilt complex the size of California. But after 10 years, we got divorced, and it became a race of who was going to get remarried first. And I was like, because I'm one and done. Well, I found out my ex got remarried on Facebook.
No.
Yeah. Talk about passive aggressive. And a few years later, I found out on Instagram he got divorced again. And I'm just waiting for Twitter to tell me he's gay. So, how long do you have to be divorced that then you're divorced, that your marriage actually never existed? Because I've been divorced for a really long time now. So long, I sometimes forget that I was even married. And I go and I try and I want to check off that little box that says single, but divorced is right next to it. And I can't lie because I have a guilt complex the size of Trump's ego.
Oh.
Okay, that wasn't good. Okay. I mean, I feel guilty all the time. I feel guilty even when there's nothing to feel guilty about. Yeah, I think I was Jewish in a past life. Well,
Catholic.
my name does come from the Bible in the book of Job. And in the book of Job, it's spelled Kezia with an H at the end. The only thing is, my mom forgot the H.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I've been trying to read the Old Testament again for like the third time, but it's just so violent. And all the killings and the animal sacrifices kind of turned me off recently because I'm vegan. I mean, sometimes I forget, but for the most part, I'm vegan. Especially, I forget when I cater. Like, I'm like, I just ate a chicken McNugget. I forgot. Well, I've decided when we open back up, if I have to go back to catering, I don't like the food service industry like Charlene does. But if I have to go back, I've decided I'm going to be positive because, no offense, Charlene, I'd rather cater than waiter.
Yeah, I completely understand.
So when I was in New York, how am I doing on time?
You are over.
Oh my God, that's my time, everyone. Yay! Have a great night. Let me see the timer.
Kezia, it's funny, right? Because as a vegan, okay, so I don't mind. People can be vegan. I don't care, right? Vegan's great. But honestly, why would you steal the names of regular people's food? I actually went onto a vegan website and found a recipe for vegan veal marsala. That's a food that people that eat meat won't even eat. They won't eat veal. Some of them won't eat veal. So just name it, like, why don't you just make something and name it like what it tastes like? It's just like, instead of like vegan hot dogs, just call them Band-Aids. So my next comic coming up, she is amazing. I've known her for many, many years. She's coming to us live from Nashua, New Hampshire. And she books comedy shows in Southern New Hampshire and has raised money for many different causes through her own Comedy on Purpose. She has been featured on the cover of the weekly New Hampshire magazine, The Hippo, and she is an Athena adult home novelty representative. So you can get in touch with her if you need to spice up the quarantine. She is also in the Guinness Book of World Records for having the most bras strung together for breast cancer awareness. So let's give a warm welcome to Alana Foden.
Charlene, thank you. Oh, I'm so excited to be a part of this. Thank you. My first time. I hail from Hudson, New Hampshire. I come from a large family. I have 15 brothers and sisters. So if I look familiar, we're probably related. Too much porn. I feel like parenting today is way harder than it was for our parents back in the day. How many moms out there would agree with that? Woohoo! It's because I have 3 kids, and between them, they're in band, chorus, jazz, soccer, volleyball, and lacrosse. And if I don't attend, volunteer, and cheer every practice, game, meet, tryout, or performance, they think I don't love them. Now, when I was a kid, it was a lot different. I remember being so excited to join the school track team, and my father's response was, "Oh yeah, well, run yourself there and run yourself home. I'm not doing goddamn taxes." And when my parents took us to the grocery store, they'd leave all us kids in the car, which is why to this day, I can still discreetly pee in a beer bottle in a public place. And I don't let my parents babysit my kids. My dad, nicest prejudice man you will ever meet in your entire life. But he loves Jehovah Witnesses. They don't argue with you, and they never drink your damn beer, no matter how many times you offer it to them. He's very repetitive. He never thinks anyone's listening to him. So he likes you to write things down. Listen to me. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hey, Nancy, fourth wife. Hey, Nancy, you want us some paper? She's got to write this down. Starts off in the morning. I drink my coffee. Made in China. I brush my teeth. Made in China. You're stealing our souls. Sucking us dry. I'm like, oh, Dad, you gotta stop shopping at the dollar store. Well, my friends wouldn't say he's an alcoholic. They'd just say he likes his drink. But you can always tell when my dad has had too much because one eye shuts and he puts a finger out the whole day. Wait a minute, hold on. Quit moving around. I'm like, Dad, let me just get a drink so I can hear you better. He got his first cell phone. Anybody? I can never reach him on it because he shuts it off when he's not using it. He thinks it saves him money. I'll be like, he's like, he goes, who the hell am I talking to? I'm like, Dad, you called me. Wait a minute, I gotta get a beer. I'm like, you're on your cell phone. You can move about the cabin freely. Same thing here, or I lose it. He likes to leave it right next to his house phone. When I was a kid, we didn't have cell phones. We had a house phone. And you could call the operator and it was free. And you could get the date, the time, the weather, tell a bad joke. And if someone called and you weren't home, it just rang unless you had an answering machine and you were rich. Now, having so many siblings, we had a pickup plan when my parents dropped us off someplace. We'd get a dime, and then when you were all done roller skating, you'd call, let it ring twice, hang up, call again, let it ring 3 times, hang up, and that meant come get me. Sometimes my parents didn't have a dime, and we would have to call collect. And it would go something like this. Mr. Foden, are you willing to accept the... No! Dad, can you come get me? And that's how we would save a dime. I grew up in this old farmhouse. You'd walk in, there'd be the stove, the fridge, the washer, the dryer. It was called a pantry. We found if you touched one appliance and another appliance at the same time, you get an electric shock. And if you're holding on to something, that something would fly right out of your hands. And being industrious and mostly unsupervised, we turn it into a game, fling the fork, which replaced dodge the knife because my weekend siblings were not as fast. And weren't required to have insurance back then. We had one bathroom, no shower, cast iron claw foot bathtub. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
It had like the little eagle claws over the ball. Well, my mom hand painted the balls blue. It was a private joke. My dad never got it. That's okay. So we had the largest piece of furniture we had in our home was a wood stove. That was our major heat source growing up in New England. I can't tell you how many times I went to bed with like hat, mittens, socks, Wonder Bread bags over my socks because that was my galoshes for the next day. And we didn't like buy wood. What? You think money grows on trees? Wood grows on trees. So my dad would send all us kids off into the woods and we would break down the trees and drag it back. And that was our firewood. It wasn't even our land. I remember we used to play games. Anybody dig to China? We had it all planned out. We started selling tickets at school, figured we'd be rich and famous, deliver all our leftovers to the starving children. We started on the side of the house because it was in the shade, and then we ended up under the house because it was a lot cooler. We found incredible treasures, but one day we found the biggest, the greatest, the bestest treasure ever. It took us all day long to dig it out, proudly we drag it around back, show my dad. Jesus Christ, that's a goddamn house jack. What the hell's wrong with you kids? And if you ran into my dad at the Piggly Wiggly, you'd be like, Vin, where's the kids? In the goddamn car. You can't leave them home. They'll destroy your house. So a few years ago, I got my first house. My dad calls me up. He's like, Alana, I got a gift for you. And I'm like, Dad, you don't have to do that. You know, there's so many of us. And he's like, no, it's the microwave. It was our family's first microwave, which I don't know if you guys have ever seen a microwave from the late 80s, but it's the size of a small freezer on your counter. And he's like, it needs instruction. Oh, okay. If it doesn't shut off, you hit it on the side. If it still doesn't shut it off when you hit it on the side, bang it on the top a couple times. If it doesn't shut off when you bang it on the side, bang it on the top, unplug the damn thing. You're not stupid. So I had that microwave for a couple years, and then a few years later, he called me up late at night, and he's like, Alana, I got a gift for you. And I'm like, Dad, that's so awesome. You didn't have to do that. And he's like, no, can you come right now? And it's like 11 o'clock at night, but okay. The neighbors, they threw out their grill. It's a good goddamn grill. And I had that grill for like 10 years. A few years ago, we had to put in a septic system. I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but it's wicked expensive. And the biggest part of the expense is the dirt. And when I called my father, he's like, Alana, you don't buy dirt. You dig it up here and you move it over there. You're lazy, for Christ's sakes. You're going to need your land. You could have a nice sledding hill for the kids. Well, a few years ago, we decided to put in a rock wall. You guys ever buy a couple pallets of rocks? My father, Alana, you're gonna give me a stroke, for Christ's sakes. We live in the Granite State. We grow rocks. You go into the woods, you find a rock wall, you move the damn thing. You're probably buying bottled water. Paying someone to drink it for you? So all I know is my dad, I haven't been able to see him. It's been real sad not being able to see everybody. But the last time he was over to my house, he wasn't coming in, and I could see outside he was all agitated in my driveway. And I go out and I'm like, Dad, what's going on? What's going on? Why don't you come into the house? And he's like, you got no goddamn reception here. You got to cut down some of your trees. I could use some firewood. And I'm like, oh, Dad, it's your house phone. Thanks, Charlene.
Oh, thank you so much. That was awesome. And if that was your first time doing a Zoom, you are all set.
Yes.
So, yeah. All right, so our next comedian coming up to our virtual stage. She's an actress, she's a comic, and she's a quirky crafter. To date, she has sewn over 400 face masks for first responders, essential workers, family, and friends. So she is so happy for this break away from her sewing machine. Please welcome to another chick in the wall, Katsy Chappell.
Thank you. I never, I used to think I didn't like people before COVID. I love y'all. It only takes a form. I don't know how prisoners do it in solitary confinement. We need that human contact. I've reverted to the age where, where little children talk to dolls and the dolls talk back. That level now, I'm scared. You know what? I noticed COVID, and Kezia said she had a COVID arm or something like that. And Dr. Fauci and them CDC people, they don't know what all the symptoms are. We all got symptoms of COVID. Even though I've been tested and I tested negative, I'm pretty sure I got COVID healed. I got COVID healed because it hurts. It does. It's on the left side of my right heel, and it hurts all the time. So I want to talk to Dr. Fauci about that. I'm very much into recycling. I'm an eco green kind of person like that. I want to do my part to leave less of my carbon print on what we got left of this earth. I realize I'm brown on the outside, but I'm green on the inside. I'm a pistachio, and delicious. Before this pandemic made us all stay at home, and people was running and grabbing up all the toilet paper, I didn't do that. I was nervous I wouldn't have enough stuff to quench my thirst, so I bought Capri Sun. A lot of them. Yeah, and so they was piling up, and so I take a break. I've been taking breaks in between making all these face masks and stuff, and I ended up one night, you know what I found out about Capri Sun? I love those little pouches. They go good with gin. They're delicious. They're yummy. But I had so many pouches, I'm like, I didn't want people like drunkards. You don't want them to see your empties going out in the recycling. So I made something out of a few Capri Suns here. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh my God.
Oh,
I love
nice.
it. I didn't want to wind up in a landfill. It's a fun jacket to wear. Rain rolls right off of it. Rolls right off of it. Not so good in thunderstorms. Now I know what Ben Franklin went through with that kite. And today I tried to wear it outside, but it was 101 degrees, and my girl started melting off, so I had to take it off. The sun is gone down now. I've been making these masks out of all kind of fun stuff, and I thought, well, can I make one out of the Capri Sun? So yeah, I ended up drinking a couple of pouches, and I made a mask.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Hey, no COVID. Get away from me, COVID. Can't no COVID get up in this here. Who's your mommy? Who's your mommy? COVID is.
I did, but people are trying to make masks out of everything around their house, and some of them, I tried to do some of them other than fabric, and I reached in my drawer and I tried one on for size. Yeah, I realized everybody can't make one out of a bra, but it smelled good. It smelled like fabric softener. And then I'm like, I thought, okay, winter's coming. Are we still gonna be wearing masks? And if we are, I'm ready. I don't even know what this is, but it's lizard and it's ready. Somebody said I was ready for something called cosplay. I don't know what that is, but call me lizard lady. Just call me lizard lady. I love wearing this thing right here. It's just the Capri Sun thing. I had it out there, and I try to walk around my neighborhood. When I walk in my neighborhood, oh my gosh, Black lives do matter, and I'm scared. I don't want to get shot on the accident, so I take my trusty white person with me wherever I go. Get on board. Don't go nowhere without a trusty white person that'll take a bullet for you. Good one. She's making masks. Don't shoot her. But yeah, I have worn this Capri Sun jacket out a couple of times, and I walked over to my park area there a couple of days ago, and I won't do that again, because I turned around and there's a whole lot of children running after me like I was a lunch truck, and I was like, get away from me. I know, I'm like, and I'm like, COVID germ itself away from me, and I'm running. Everybody stopped. All the little kids, they ran out of breath except for this one little white dude with little chunky red hair dude who had the freckles and little chopped off red hair and rosacea cheeks running after me talking about, ma'am. I made him run an extra mile because he's like 50 pounds overweight. We both ran out of breath. I said, what? He goes, I like the Capri Sun best. That's really nice. He goes, where do you stick your straws? to think about it for a minute because I done tore them little yellow Coke straws off a long time ago and discarded them. You know the little thing you stick in there and you suck it like yeah. So I forgot. And then I remember what it was, the Coke straw. Like, oh, you go, where are you sticking straws? And I said, I didn't know. So I said, in my bottle of Boone's Farm. He go, what's Boone's Farm? I go, it's grown-up Kool-Aid. Get away from me, you little rat. But I'm home and I'm glad that I'm still alive. You know, I wake up in the morning and I realize, you know, in my 20s and 30s, I was the bomb. I called them my T years. I would party. I missed the party, sort of. I would party all night and get up and roll out of bed, be in my bank job the next morning. Now I'm in my F years in 40s and 50s. And I'm realizing my spring has sprung. I'm gonna move nothing but my eyelids. I look around, make sure I'm not in a hospital or a COVID tent. That'll put a damper on your day. But I'm glad I'm home. I'm glad when we get to go out again. I miss traveling. I lost all my comedy gigs. I was booked up through the next year, and now I've like lost them all except for the end of next year. But what I miss most is when I've been over to perform for our troops in Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Africa. And I love going and being over there. And I was thinking about it recently. The first time I went over, I was all nervous because DOD sent us over there and they sent us to Kuwait. And I was going, you know, we're comics. I met the other two comics over there. And the first thing they do is they process you. They take you to Kuwait and they take you through this processing center and they take your passport away for 4 hours. And they process you. Then the next place they take you to is to get fitted for a helmet and a flak jacket. And I was pulling out my DOD papers because I wasn't sure I read that in my contract. We ain't supposed to be doing kind of shows. So we go to get fitted, and the other two dudes have been there before, and I'm getting fitted by this young, fresh-faced soldier. He's just a hair past 18, just as cute as he want to be. He's sitting up there and he's fitting me with a flak jacket, right? And the way he's putting it on me, he's doing this and he's rubbing all the hair and he's just going, he's doing this forever. And then, you know, he's smelling all good like Downy. I couldn't stop him. He's going, that Downy, it's a grand thing. It just gets you. He's doing that. And the way he kept doing this, I realized he didn't realize that I'm a female. Little white dude with the rosette cheeks. I could tell the moment he realized I was a female because he turned sharpie red like white people tend to do. Oh, Mom, I'm so sorry. And I went, go on, finish. I didn't have a mammogram yet. And I had some chiclets. You better find them. Yeah, I got that jacket on me so tight. My girls had nowhere to go. I left there, I could barely breathe. I went and looked in the mirror. And when I looked in the mirror, I saw one girl hanging out of the bottom of that jacket. And the other one was climbing up over the top like Sound of Music. And they was looking at each other like, weren't we neighbors? That's my time, you all. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much. Let's hear it for Katsy. By the way, she's going
I didn't see my light, but I timed myself. Look,
you were great.
You owe me 5 seconds.
That was perfect. Then let me plug your soap making class. She's actually, Katsy's going to be offering a virtual day camp, and it's going to be a soap making class at the Arroyo Repertory Theater. And on the, so that is www.arroyorepertory.org/2020 virtual-summer. So give that a shot.
Yeah,
and
come make some fresh soap. Make your own soap because we don't know if there's COVID in that other crap. Come
stop it.
If you make it, you know ain't no COVID in it.
You're gonna get us kicked off of Facebook.
Excuse me, Zuckerberg. Go mess with somebody else for a while. Don't Putin need help. Go answer Putin call.
So our next comic coming up, she is a native Angelino, which sometimes is hard to find around here. So native Angelino, she's a guzzling mother, and she is a do-it-yourselfer, eBay selling, ball-busting CEO of her own home. So let's hear it for, let me find her on the list here. Oh my gosh, you can tell this is left for oh, there she is. She was waving. There she goes. Rochelle Marie.
Oh, you guys, what an awesome night so far. I'm having so much fun. Thank you for inviting me, Charlene. I'm gonna give you guys something that I learned today. I was at a Zoom birthday party with many artists and mystics and like card readers and stuff, and they showed me something that I had never seen. These are called sparkle fingers.
Ooh.
Sparkle fingers. Okay, so yeah, my given name is Rochelle Maribaca Dupont de Anderson. Mucho gusto. I am a first generation American Peruvian. Yeah.
Ooh.
And
American.
I married a typical California ranch boy. I know, I didn't even know that was a thing. I grew up in the valley, so I had no idea that California had so much agriculture. Or equestrian. Like seriously, I had no idea. I was born in Canoga Park. I knew the beaches, I knew Beverly Hills, and I knew El Downtown. Because El Downtown in the garment district is where you go after Beverly Hills to get El. Okay.
No, I think somewhere we're getting some feedback. So sorry.
I'm just gonna keep going though, because it's okay.
It's okay.
Technical difficulties, they're all good. Yeah, so in the 80s, I went, Mommy, you know, I want a Michael Jackson zipper jacket. And she was like, yeah, pues, vamos al downtown. So when my husband told me that he lived on a ranch, I was like, where? Pierce College?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, Santa Clarita Valley. And I was like, oh, no idea. Had no idea what it was. So when my parents met him, they nicknamed him El Ranchero. There was absolutely no need to actually learn his real name because we weren't serious until El Ranchero started fixing things around the house. Then my mom would say, oh, my Kirky, he's so handsy. Handy, Mom, handy. My husband's name is Kirk, like the captain. He looks like, yeah, just like that. He looks like Clint Eastwood and Brad Pitt had a baby. A real Renaissance man. You know, he could catch a rattlesnake with his bare hands and skate off of a flight of stairs and ride a horse really fast and even make tennis look good. A real Gatsby, you know what I mean? A real type, a real certain type. When I was 12, I was sitting in a circle with my cousins and we were talking about boys and I didn't know what my type was until this moment. So around the circle we went and we talked about Cesar and Pepe and Jesus y Marcos y Carlos. And then it was my turn. Rochi, what's your boy's name? Howie. Howie? Howie what? Howie Johnson. Oh, damn! Rochi like the white boys! I did. But, you know, I sampled all the other flavors, not to worry, because as a Latina, I felt obligated to date all demographics. But I have to tell you that there is nothing hotter than a white, hairy, blonde dude that tans better than me. Seriously, that's really, really hot to me. So my captain, he really is my captain. And I have to tell you, my husband is the little brother that I never wanted. Yeah. We're like a brother and sister, really close brother and sister that, you know, fool around. Yeah, he doesn't like that joke either. Yeah, he thinks that we're more like a father-daughter relationship. Boner-tastic, I know. But here's the thing, ladies, we've all heard this. We all marry somebody that is like our father. But I didn't. I really didn't. I married somebody that was like my grandmother. I did. This is true. They have the same exact birthday. And man, are they good at guilt tripping. Holy cow, it's crazy. So Kirk and I have been together for 23 years. And the other day I asked him, Sugar Pie, are you still like in love with me? And he said, baby, no. We are so beyond that. You are like, you're like a limb on my body. You're just like a part of who I am. You know, it's like, I love my arm. I need my arm. It would suck if I had to cut my arm off. So I'd say that's love, and I'm okay with it. I don't watch the news. I don't watch it. I use common sense. But if I want the news, I go to Facebook. Because everybody's an expert on Facebook and everybody knows what they're talking about. So why wouldn't I go there? You know? I don't even read the articles. I just read the headlines and I'm all caught up. And of course, you know, I share the article because people need to be informed. Very important. So we're rounding the corner now where, you know, I'm about to log off for about 2 years. People are so damn judgy, you guys, like right before the election and like forever after, you know, it's like, what the heck? They get so mad if you disagree with them or judge back. It's like, and here's the thing, listen, I don't care who you're voting for. I don't care why, you know, I log on to see what you look like. I log on to see your babies and your puppies and what you ate for lunch and then your workout selfie. Seriously, do you guys remember the non-political memes? Like, I actually got those. Hashtag blessed. Oh my gosh, those were my favorite. What the heck? Where did those go? They're gone. I miss them. So, not listening to the news, of course. I knew about Corona, but it was like in a far off land, you know, like, oh no, everyone's talking about Corona. Like, people, come on, we live in America. That's crazy. Well, March 14th, I went to go see my jeweler, Leo. I am so sorry. I meant my jewelry mechanic. My God, jeweler is so bourgeoisie, you know? So trying not to use it anymore. I'm actually kind of embarrassed. I hope he's not watching. Okay, so he was like, Rochelle, did you go to Costco and pick up your water and your toilet paper? And I said, no, what are you talking about? And then he told me, and I said, Leo, you have to stop watching the news. You're getting super paranoid. Well, March 17th, a couple days after, we had our first day of homeschooling here. Corona huevona, you freaking ruined my life. You guys, I have 4 kids. This was the 1 year they were all going to be at the same school at the same time on the same schedule, okay? They were leaving at 7:30 a.m. and I had to pick them up at 3:45 if I felt like it. I got so much done or not done. It was amazing. And to be honest with you, I mean, the whole thing couldn't have pissed me off more because I am not qualified to be a teacher. I'm barely qualified to be a mother. And who knew these kids were gonna eat so freaking much? My husband and I thought, okay, so we're gonna end up saving some money here because we're not gonna eat out, which we used to do quite a bit. And so we're thinking like, great, cool, we're gonna save some money. Well, no way. These kids ate all freaking day. My daughter was constantly telling me, Mommy, I'm hungry. And I'd say, Avia, go get some carrots. It's okay, like you're good. But no, they always wanted something hard, like a frozen burrito, or I had to freaking get up. So, yeah, recently I had to cut my nails. I was accidentally stabbing people. And by stabbing people, I mean my husband's penis. Which is so weird because I was going for his huevos rancheros.
Oh, no.
Here's the thing, guys. I don't know why, but you know, people have stress balls on their desk. Mine happen to be in my husband's pants. You know, my hands are always down there. I can't help it. You know, and I don't have to go buy the stress balls. I own his. Like, we're good. And I'm happy. But the poor guy, he's always like, every time I walk by, like you can feel his anticipation, like, oh my, okay, she's coming. Because he knows. Sometimes I just slap him, you know, just to get a reaction. He doesn't think that's funny. I've ruined his sperm. Like his sperm count is awful. But anyway, so you know, don't feel too bad for him though, because his hands are always on my boobs. Seriously. You know how you're supposed to like do like a self-examination like once a month, like in the shower or on the bed? No need for me. He knows my boobs better than me. I get a check like 3 times a day minimum. Okay? I get my mammograms on the home office Xerox machine. Okay? Yeah. So, you know, working out and eating during this quarantine period, you know, it's got a lot harder, especially now that I'm getting older. So I've been trying this new diet. Maybe you've heard about it. It's free. It's called the intermittent starving. Yeah, who knew? No eating and exercise really works. Thanks, you guys. You've been awesome. I'm Rochelle Marie, and thanks for stopping in.
Yay! So at least we all know what PG-13 means to Rochelle now.
You know, I'm a little hippy tippy. I don't hide it. They ask me a question, I friggin' answer it.
And I don't know how you ruined his sperm. You have 17 children. So I'm gonna like bring up our next comic, and I'm gonna tell you, I met our next comic out in Los Angeles, and she's coming direct to you tonight from Boston. She's an Eritrean American comic, writer, voiceover artist, radio personality, and actress. She has a second episode airing on TV One for My Man, soon. I think the name of it's For My Man. Yeah, so I'm just like a reading pool. So please welcome to our virtual stage, Awet Teame.
Hello.
Oh no, I muted you by accident. Look, see, I haven't had enough coffee yet. Unmute yourself. I gotta find you now.
Oh, okay, I got you.
There you go. Sorry about that.
We're in retrograde, so that happens. Mechanically.
There we go.
Hi, everybody. All right, I hear some feedback, but hopefully we can get through this.
Oh, try if you have your volume up on your computer, try turning it down.
Oh,
because that's
okay.
what's happening with mine.
Oh, I see. Okay, cool. Hopefully that worked. I turned it down a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm from Africa, Eritrea. If you calm down, if anyone's never heard of it, because no one knows where Eritrea is. It's in East Africa, north of Ethiopia. And we actually had a war against Ethiopia for 30 years. And only in Africa could there be a war for 30 years and no one knows about it. Like what the, so we're like my big fat Greek wedding. Okay. Like if you've ever watched the movie, that's who we are. So Eritreans only marry other Eritreans. So I'm unmarried, and I have no kids, so I'm an abomination. They hate me. So they actually, like they really, that's all they want of you. They don't care that you're smart. It's just like, so, and there's no such thing as dating, right? We just literally like, okay, I pick you, let's go, let's marry right now. Like, it's like, there's no conversation, the only good part is that you're interested, right? So that's how they look at, that's how the men choose you too. It's just like, I pick her, it's just like, what the, oh my God, we're like, it's like a cat call. It's weird. It's like we're cattle. But no, I was raised in the States. And I read a few self-help books. It's kind of too late to get with like a man who wants to beat me all the time. Like, it's just, it's just like, go in the kitchen and then get beaten and, have his babies and get beaten. It's just like, oh, wow. It's just like, I'm really, I'm flattered that you guys want me, but it's kind of too late, because I have self-confidence now and self-esteem and, I just have a lot of, self-worth. Like, I don't know if that would work. You know what I mean? So I ran away. I ran away from my people. I actually moved to LA. That was one of the reasons why I ran away from my people. But then they found me. So here's the thing. Like, they were fine. They were like, okay, Awet, fine. What do you want? Right? And I was just like, great. You finally ask me what I want. Because they just tell you. So I was just like, okay, they asked me what I want. I was like, okay, I want what Oprah has. And then they were like, Oprah? And I was just like, yeah, Oprah. And then they were like, okay. I was like, okay. That's all I had to say, finally, so now I'm off the hook, it was just like, this is great, So they're okay with the whole long-term non-marriage thing, right? So I was like, all right. So now, like, my family invites me over and they were like, I would come over. We have a surprise for you. I was like, oh, wow. Now my relationship is getting better with my people, So then I come over there and they misunderstood. They found me an Eritrean who looks like Stedman. I was like, okay, that's not what I meant. But I was impressed. So I was like, can I put in an order? Right. So, and then he was like, sure. I was like, okay, can you find me an Eritrean that looks like Denzel, or Blair Underwood, or Tyler Payne? Do you guys remember Tyler Payne? Oh my God. He was so fine. Like back in the 90s, he was like a really hot 90s actor. He was in the movie with Jada Pinkett Smith. Anyway, he showed his hairy butt in their naked scene or sex scene, and that was when I discovered I was a pervert. I was just like, I had no idea I was into hairy butts until that day. And that's when and this is what like a pervert looks like, okay? And that's when I just, when you like, if you tilt your head and stare for a little too long at something nasty, you're a pervert. Because I was like, anyway, and then when I like rented the movie, I rewound that particular part just to watch it all over again, because I was just like, I'm sorry, I don't know. I didn't know I liked hairy butts. I didn't even think they existed, but I don't know. You never know what you like until you see it, right? Anyway, right? I know that was PG-13. I won't go into details. So I'm a stand-up, right? And my people are really smart. So if you've never seen an Eritrean, you can go to a parking lot, like a parking lot attendant, those $8, please. Those are my people. But when they're not doing that, they're usually doctors and engineers. So when I told my mom I was going to do this, she was like, Awet, if you become a comedian, I will cut off my legs. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, and I will live miserable for the rest of my life. I'm like, first of all, what is up with Africans always cutting off body parts? We live in the States now, Mom. You just can't do that, right? So then I decided to reach, for an acting book because I went to Emerson, right? So then I turned around. She had a machete to her legs, and she was like, "Don't go any closer. I'll do it." And I was just like, "Wow, okay, okay. Well, can you do me a favor and not cut off your arms because I still need you to co-sign a few things." What the hell? So it's hot in here. It's like really sweat. It's like hot. All right. So I lost my train of thought because
you're so hot.
Yeah, I'm hot.
Co-sign.
Oh yeah. So what was I gonna say? Okay. So I was born there. All right, that's what I was gonna go. Okay. So I was born there. And all that means is that I don't have a birth certificate. Okay. Oh. When we moved to the States, we literally pick a birthday like it's on a menu. So my mom was just like, okay, who wants September? Anyone? Right. So they gave me June. So like, but if you ask how old she is, she's like, well, I'm between 47 and 85. I'm like, what? So everything is arranged with her, and I was like, okay, well, can I help you jog your memory? Do you remember how old you were when you married Dad? And she's like, sure, 8 and 27. I'm like, what the, wow. So I'm in a range too, I'm like between 27 and 96. So it's like, it's weird, like my doctors have no idea what's going on with me. And then it doesn't help that I have always had irregular periods. So I'll never know when I'm properly going through menopause. Like I'm probably 65. And I think I went through menopause and it's a little difficult because, Black doesn't crack, like, so it's just like, I'm like, you might actually be looking at a vampire, like, because I have some strange memories. Okay. Like when I'm sitting in history class, I just know the answer without reading books sometimes. And they're just like, how do you know that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I might've been there.
That's awesome.
I think so this is great. Yes. So I might've been a cougar for a really long time too, dating the wrong aged men. Jesus Christ. They have to, like, eventually, I actually can't wait till I die because then they'll, do an autopsy and cut my ovaries open and then decide, and then they'll see the rings in the ovaries and we'll know officially how old I actually was. It was just like, this was, oh my God, how did we not know this? Like, she died at 179. Listen, I think it's possible we're going into that age, like, haven't you noticed on Instagram, like all of these like products now that's like reversing everything, every problem you ever had with your body, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, what? Click, you're going to finally get rid of this. I I have what do you call it? Like a I have an arm girdle. Like I'm not wearing it right now, but I have an arm girdle that one day I'm gonna do this, and all this is gonna disappear. I'm gonna have like sexy ass arms. I can't wait. But the bad thing is that it does suck the shit out of you. All right, I have okay. I only have. I think I have a. That's my time. But like, I'll leave you with this one joke. So I actually have. I got my citizenship here in the States, right? Yes. So, but what? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, hold on, wait a minute. I have to take a test to become a citizen, and what they don't, they actually throw in trick questions. Okay, Coke or Pepsi was on the test. No. And it's a verbal exam, you know. So the lady was like, "This is worth 50 points," and she looked at me dead in the eye. It was terrifying, right? And at that point, I knew what I was because I was a little older. And I was like, okay, fine, Pepsi. And then she was like, get the fuck out, right? And I was like, what? She's like, grab your shit and get the fuck out. And I was like, what? I was like, oh my God, I didn't have anything with me. So I grabbed this lady's sweater and I ran, right? So then she was like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Oh, you're an American. You know how to steal.
What? Oh my God.
Charlene, what is wrong with you? The joke.
Oh my God.
All right. I love it. That was the best reaction. Okay, but thank you very much. That was my time.
You're a very convincing actress.
All right.
In Massachusetts in the 80s, she was going to get her driver's license, and she actually told me, and maybe it's joking, I thought it was true. She said there was a question, it was multiple choice. It's okay to drink and drive when A, you don't have to ride home. So I just say I'm not surprised at anything anymore. But everybody, that was Awet. And you know what? Awet has been actually accepted into the Burbank Comedy Festival for this August. Woohoo! The Black Women Comedy Festival next February. Gosh, hopefully you could do that in person, because, you know, hopefully by next February we will be done. Mm-hmm. She's also part of the Misfit Toy Comedy Ensemble, and that next show will be on August 15th. We've got one more comic left. Woo! And you may have seen your next comic, I don't know, on Conan, or maybe as New Fiona. That's right, New Fiona on Shameless, on the, I think it's the 7th season of Shameless.
Yes.
And film Girl Cullen has been accepted into the Palm Springs International Film Festival. Please welcome Mary Kennedy.
Woohoo! Here I am. Hello. Reporting live from Van Nuys, ladies and gentlemen. Van Nuys, California. Everyone, please unmute yourselves. And if you want to show your face, because there's people on here that I haven't seen in a while, and I want to hear your laughter. Please, unless there's that reverb, and you can shut that off. Okay. Hi. Yeah, no, somebody's going to shut that off. Sorry.
Who's that? I think it's Ellen jamming out.
Yeah, so Ellen, mute yourself, honey.
One by one, you mute all your friends.
First time.
Unmute.
Okay, that's good.
Wait a minute, I didn't unmute. I didn't mute.
You're fine, Ellen. Just stay there. But I want to hear laughter. So even if you don't want to show your face and you know who you are, unmute yourself. If you're not, sound like you're in a casket going down a bumpy road. Okay. Hi, Mary here from Van Nuys. So yes, I was in Shameless season 7. I played an out of work prostitute who worked for food. Not that much different than being a out of work comic who delivers food to everybody. Okay, somebody's gotta, this is my own fault. I did this to myself. So
oh, you know what? Try turning down your own volume. That could also help.
There you go. Nope.
All right, hold on.
This is my own fault. Beautiful. Okay. So yes, so I played New Fiona, and I did play a prostitute, And it wasn't a big jump for me because I come from Boston, and I just channeled the red light district, the combat zone. They wanted a prostitute who let herself go. Hi, hello. And so anyway, but I had a nude scene, everybody. I had a nude scene. I hope you all ate dinner. I walked out of a shower naked. I did. You saw me from head to the bottom of my feet, as my mom saw me when I was born. And I got to tell you, in Hollywood, I've been out here 20 years. You know, your IMDb bio is, you know, she's married, she's done this, this, and this. I got to say that my bio on skindaddy.com, because I was put in with the ladies of Shameless, Emmy Rossum, Shanola Hampton, Mary Kennedy. And my bio is milky white Irish girl where her left breast is bigger than her right. Now, I don't know about you, but I've made it. I've made it. And I have convicts, divorced men, and military men following me. I mean, it just doesn't get better than this, okay? And so now I'm in Van Nuys, and anyone that knows Van Nuys, Rochelle does, because she's a Californian. Van Nuys is not the Beverly Hills. I just got to tell you, and I'm in a new series now for Bravo called The Real Housewives of Van Nuys. It's true. I go to the Vallarta market. When things are really crazy, I go to the DMV and I get my headshots done. And then a bunch of ladies and we go and do hot Bikram yoga, because we got to keep up with the exercise, at the tax accountant, bails bondsman, hairstylist on Victory. So that is my life here in Van Nuys. I'm originally from Boston. I'm from Marblehead, Massachusetts. I loved Alana's jokes. I totally get it. My grandmother was a Depression baby. We lived with her, and we had a convection oven, not a real oven. So Thanksgiving took 3 days. So I shared a room with my Irish Catholic grandmother until I was 18 years old. Hello, everyone. Hi. And, there was nothing. Our room was a shrine to Jesus. Okay. One side was a shrine to Jesus. The other side of the room was a shrine to Duran Duran, because grandma was hungry like a wolf. And, when you're a Catholic girl, guys, you do everything but. I'm talking about with the boys. You do everything but the Catholic priests, because I wasn't their type. So I would come home from a night of heavy petting. I don't know. Us East Coast girls know exactly what that is. And I come home, and grandma, my Irish Catholic grandmother, would be there clanging her rosary beads saying, "I hope you didn't pull a Mary Magdalene. She was a whore." And I was raised by my grandmother and my mother. And my grandma didn't like to talk about sex. Okay. She even, if we were watching Three's Company, she'd come in the living room and shut it off. She goes, "Stop watching that rubbish. That John Ritter is a devil. Stop, shut it off, living with two girls. I don't understand it." And I don't know why grandma sounds like she's Russian all of a sudden, but she does. And so anyway, so my grandmother taught me the birds and the bees by giving me the Bible. Okay. She gave me the Bible one day, and she goes, "I think it's about time that you learn about the birds and the bees. So take the Bible, read it cover to cover, and then come back and you'll have a quiz." I said, "All right." So I read it, and I come back to her, and she goes, "All right, Mary, now everybody on this show, take out a pen and paper, all right? Because some of you guys don't remember the birds and the bees. I want you to write it down." So she sat me down, and she said, "In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, let us begin." She said, "Mary, you know how you had Adam and Eve, and they were at the Garden of Eden, right? And it was beautiful. And Eve only had one thing to do. She wasn't supposed to talk to the serpent, but she did, because she was a chatty Cathy. And so she, and so the serpent said, 'Hey, Eve, why don't you have the apple? It looks delicious. It looks like you need some calories.' And she said, 'You know what, serpent? I can't have that apple, because I'm on the Weight Watchers, and I only have 1 point left, and the apple is 2 points. So I got to give it to Adam.' So she gives it to Adam, and guess what? That's why we have hell and damnation every month of the friggin' year, Mary, because Eve was a good dieter, and she was trying to conform to the man." Next thing you know, you got Mary, the Virgin Mary that you're named after. Never forget it. You're going to be a virgin till you die. She's laying in the bed, and she's sleeping, that Mary, and she's dreaming of the Jason Momoa, right? And then this angel comes down and taps her on the shoulder and says, you know what, Mary? You're going to wake up and you're going to be pregnant with the Son of God. You're going to be pregnant with Jesus, okay? And you're going to love this, and you and Joseph are going to walk into the sunset, for Christ's sake. Anyway, so you're going to wake up pregnant. And actually, Mary, that was the first episode of Lifetime. She woke up pregnant. And now Lifetime is going after the Virgin Mary for all of those residuals they never get. So, and finally, Mary is walking through the hot desert. It's 110 degrees like it was in the valley today. She's walking through the desert with her gay best friend, Joseph, because there's no way he was straight, Mary. And she's walking through and she's laboring, and they get into this barn, and there's chicken and there's turkey and there's all sorts of things, and they're laying in the hay. And these three guys show up, because who doesn't love an audience when you're giving birth to the Jesus? The three guys show up and they give her incense and paprika, and they look suspiciously like earth, wind, and fire. All right, everybody. That's the birds and the bees of the Bible. I'm feeling like you're all laughing inside or judging me. I'm not sure. So growing up, the reason why I'm a comic, you guys, is because growing up, my mother had a band. My mother in the 80s, when my parents got divorced, she started a wedding band, which consisted of 40-year-old divorcees singing hot stuff in locomotion called the Mood Swings. Now they're in their 60s. They're called the Hot Flashes. Yes. And, my mother had me share a room with my grandmother because she didn't want me to get pregnant. I have a 13-year-old daughter, and my biggest fear is she'll get pregnant. So I enrolled her in gymnastics so she never gets her period. You know your mother's in a band if next to the refrigerator is a fog machine. Okay. Somebody's back. Somebody's all right. Somebody's having an MRI. That's how it sounds. Somebody's having an MRI. So Chuck E. Cheese. Okay, this is a new joke. So Charlene brought up Chuck E. Cheese. I spent so much time in the Chuck E. Cheese as a child in the 80s. I think our East Coast parents, they didn't have those parenting groups that we have now. Like I did a gig for moms in Boston, and they had an actual parenting group called Good Enough Parenting. Good enough. It is alive after a year. Good enough. And I think my mother had that same thing, because she would take me to Chuck E. Cheese, and then they'd forget about us. They'd be outside in the parking lot drinking a tab and smoking a cigarette. So anyway, I was a larger size kid. And if you guys know, there's a maze in Chuck E. Cheese. It's a cheese house. And I got stuck between the Gouda and the Parmesan cheese levels because I was too big for the maze. Too big. And I was trapped, and the birthday party was ending, and the balloons were deflating. And my mother thought I was lost. And she came in and she saw that I was stuck between Parmesan and Gouda. And she said, oh, for Christ's sake, Mary, somebody get her a slice of pepperoni. That will lure her out. The truth is that the fire department of Danvers, Massachusetts got me out with the jaws of life.
Yes.
I was not the most popular kid, and that's why I was picked last for dodgeball. Anyway, so I'm Irish Catholic. I was dying to not be Irish Catholic. The food, the potatoes, it's all about the potatoes, the constipation. Anyway, so my mother, made me do 23andMe because I wanted to be just 1% Jewish, just 1%. Because if I was, I would throw myself a bat mitzvah. I've been married to my husband for 17 years, and we need towels. It's a desperate situation. But I'm 100% Irish, and my mother went to the Holy Land, and she called me from the lobby of the hotel room, and she goes, Mary, you're not gonna freaking believe it. Ireland is beautiful, and here in the lobby you can buy Tampax and liquor in the vending machine. Mary, if you've got your period, this is the place to go. Did I get the Blarney Stone when she came home? Did I get a piece of Waterford that I could sell on eBay? No, I got a whole box of Irish tampons shaped like shillelaghs. Why, ladies, are we, now that we're going through menopause, why they don't have fun commercials for us like the girls that are going through the period. There's no pictures or videos of us on the beach in Malibu in tight white shorts and a white tank top playing volleyball with our period. There's none of that. Instead, for poise pads, I'm in a dark corner in a room knitting for the poise commercial. So anyway, you guys, I used to dress like a whore. I'm not going to kid you. I would shop at Ross Dress for Less, where I could dress like a whore cheaply. Now I've been relegated to Chico's, everybody. Chico's, you walk in the store and they say it's a Chico's kind of day. I don't understand why, with me hot flashing, that they feel, the Chico's people feel that they need to design clothes with a necklace already sewn into the collar of a sweater. Am I that inept that I can't put a necklace over my head? Is it that bad that I need them to sew jewelry into fabric? I'm just asking. And then they make us larger size girls wear lots of turquoise. So we look at we don't look down below this, right? So I have a sweater that's covered in so much fake turquoise that it is so heavy that now I have whiplash and I have to go to a chiropractor. Okay. And then they keep reminding me it's a Chico's kind of day. It is never a Chico's kind of day. All right. How much more time do I have there, Charlene?
As a minute or so.
A minute. Okay. So a couple things. I've been stuck with my husband in isolation. I had him dye my hair. My husband is a straight man. Okay. Even though I turned formerly gay, he only dyed to here and he left this brown spot on top of my head. I looked like I was wearing a perpetual yarmulke. Happy Shabbos. And my husband is a man of little words. When he does speak, I ignore him. He wants nothing to do with the kids in the puberty. He's afraid if he looks at my son's penis in the eye, he'll turn gay. He's been with me 17 years. He's still straight. It's a miracle. Anyway, so my son is going through puberty, you guys, and it's nothing. And Rochelle knows what I'm talking about. Nothing is worse than your cute little baby that you fed and held into your arms, that you still want to hug, but now he has pubic hair. It's a little upsetting. And so he comes downstairs to me and he says, "Mom, I'm going through puberty." I said, "Why aren't you talking to your father?" He goes, he doesn't want to talk about it. I said, "All right, well, what's happening?" And he says, "Listen," I said, I researched it. I went on Google and I guess my voice is going to change. I'm going to get hair in places I never even knew I had hair. And then my penis will be enormous. And I said, "You know what, honey? You get that from me." My labia is the size of a smart car. All right, everybody. Thank you, everybody. That's my time. Mary Kennedy at M. Kennedy Comedy. Headlining Flappers on July 26th at 6 p.m. virtually. Thank you, everybody.
Excellent. Yay, Mary. Also, Mary's going to be doing the Plano, Texas Comedy Festival as well as the Burbank Comedy Festival. So I'm going to tell you, that's our show. I have to throw out a shout out to my father, who actually didn't make it to watch because he was trying so hard to make the old ass computer in his house work. And so he did his best. So thanks, Dad, for trying to get on the show. I want to thank all the people who showed up today. And thank you to Kezia, Alana, Katsy, Rochelle, Awet, and Mary. My name's Charlene Ward. I know we were all kind of like pushing all sorts of stuff. So go to all the other people's shows. Next Saturday night, if you like live music, check out the Lockdown Lounge. And that is being performed by Starlight. She does about 90 minutes of live music in quarantine at her apartment, and it's fantastic. Also, if you need some lip balm, I have lip balm for real men. That's right. Beer flavored lip balm, bourbon flavored lip balm. We have bacon flavored lip balm and a barbecue flavored lip balm. If you would like to go ahead and tip our performers, there it is. Venmo at charleneward.com. There you go. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks to all the comics. If the comics want to stay around after, that's cool. If you want to get a group shot on the computer, I think Mary did.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I'll do that.
I got a few.
All right. So that would be great. So thanks everyone for coming. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Jacob and Rebecca, for joining in.
Thanks, Jillian. Let me get a group shot with the comics, please. Okay. I'm gonna shut off my
Wait, there's only 4 of you.